I gotta be honest with y'all. I'm not a big fan of those red-skinned Hulks.
I think you mean the football team Hulks. Sorry, my bad. It's actually the Commanders Hulks. Is this joke still topical?
Welcome back to the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And we got a spoiler-free review for Captain America: Brave New World. Before we get into this, let us know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comments down below. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, all the YouTube things. And yeah, this is going to be spoiler-free. If you've seen the trailers, that's pretty much what we're going to stick to. Most everything, I feel like there's a lot of this movie that is kind of obvious from the trailers.
I'm also going to be honest, I don't really think there's any spoilers to say anyway. I mean, outside of just like how the plot and the story actually goes, you want to actually watch the movie for that. But as far as your normal Marvel fare for movies, there's not a whole lot to give away here.
This is another one of those movies also that had like a lot of like theories, like a lot of YouTube videos of people diving in, like picking apart the trailer and saying what their theory was, and then all that is backed also by the plot summary that was released by Marvel. So there's a lot of this that I know was originally thought of as theories and wasn't formally known, that I feel like is kind of common sense now. I still kind of want to stay away from that just in case. Right off the bat, I think the movie was okay. I know, like, right now, the movie's getting a lot of, like, heated debate on how good it was. I think it was fine. I was entertained. It was enjoyable. But like I said in the Out of the Theater reaction, it felt like an extended episode of a TV show like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. The thing about it is that we got to put things into perspective now. MCU's been around for, gosh darn, it's coming up on 20 years pretty soon.
Jeez.
In another 3 years or so. That's a pretty big deal. They've been going at it for a long time. So you've got a lot of movies to kind of compare and contrast to. Not that you necessarily should. It's kind of the natural thing to do. Like, we want to look at where we're at versus where we've been. And this movie is by far not the worst thing that Marvel Studios has put out. And I know even in saying that...
still Thor: The Dark World.
Even in saying that... Secret Invasion. Even in saying that...
oh, yeah.
I would argue that, you know, it's not great to start a sentence with, well, it's not the worst thing. Because that still is like, well, you're still saying it's kind of bad. And I'm not even really necessarily saying it's bad in the most general perspective. I would argue that, yeah, it is fine. To go into detail, there's a lot in this movie that I actually was really enjoying. I don't know. Are we spoiling the villain?
I mean, the villain
People know who the villain is.
So the thing with the villain right off the bat...
I have a point to make that has to
and I feel
go
like
off that.
I feel like this is okay. So a part of this is when this movie was actually first announced, is at one of like the comic conventions or something.
Oh yeah, they did tell everybody.
They actually flat out brought him out.
Yeah,
saying that Samuel Stearns is returning.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah, so we do know that Samuel Stearns is the leader. He is the villain of this movie, and effectively like controlling everything behind the scenes.
Yeah. So I will say, when they finally brought him on the scene in the movie, that's when the movie really picked up for me. It was at that moment that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of getting into what it is that we're doing here.
Yeah, an hour into it.
Exactly. Prior to that, there was some fun stuff, some fun banter. You got Torres, you got Sam, you got Isaiah Bradley. There's some fun stuff there. Great to see Harrison Ford at it. A lot of good little stuff peppered in there, but gosh, it was really like an hour until we really got who's behind everything and what's going on. And the problem is that, like you said, they brought him out at the Comic Cons.
That should have been kept a secret.
Yeah, and so we knew he was there. We knew he was present, and we knew he was going to be pulling the strings the entire time. At that point, it shouldn't take an hour to get to him.
Yeah, I know like one of the first trailers, we did see a shot of him while he's in a house, like talking on the phone, wearing a hat. We see him from behind. That shot is in the movie. But that's where I feel like the trailers need to stop with him. I didn't want any other indication that Tim Blake Nelson was in this movie.
Yeah, don't tell us he's in it. Just give us that shot and be like, oh, who is that? I'm interested in who that is.
That would have been good. That being said, the makeup job that they did on him, I thought it was okay. Like, you could tell the reference to the way the leader looks in the comic books. I think they did a fairly decent job in this movie, given like what has happened to him since we saw him at the end of 2008's Incredible Hulk.
I would say that specifically one thing that Marvel is usually good at is they're good at kind of tiptoeing you in, kind of like test the waters a little bit. And once you buy into what it is they give you, then they give you just the flat out comic book version of that character. That being said, this is not the comic book look to the leader at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has like a different look as like an ultimate leader or what have you, but this is very much a entry level into, hey, remember this character from The Incredible Hulk? He's back. Yes, this is kind of what he looks like now. But because I know how the MCU works, I think we're going to get a different version of him later on.
In the comics, he's really had two major looks. It's just a giant topped head.
Pencil stash.
Up. And then there's also the one where he has kind of like a bulbous brain.
Yeah.
Not really a straight up and down. And I feel like they did... It's definitely more of the bulbous brain type of look to it, but I feel like it fits. I think they did a good job, especially because when I first saw Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns in Incredible Hulk, I was like, I can't picture this guy playing the leader at all. And I think he did a good job in this.
That's the thing, and I do want to mention that because I told you about this too. I think the characterization of him was fantastic. I think he has the characterization of who the leader is down easy. I'm like, I bought into it. Yeah, that is the leader, 100%.
Yeah. Comparing this real quick, going based off of the leader, something else we were talking about before, is comparing this to, say, like... was it Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Civil War. They're trying to emulate the fact that both of those movies are very kind of like a political thriller type. So they're trying to copy that, but not quite. I don't think they quite got it on the same level.
No, and I have a hard time trying to figure out exactly what the reason why it's missing here.
The Russos.
Well, maybe. I don't know about that necessarily, but you know, like in Winter Soldier, you got the intrigue of Hydra taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. We didn't see that coming. You've got Civil War. You've got the brilliant plan of Baron Zemo. He's a bad guy who actually wins in the end. That's intriguing. You can say to some degree, you know, you get a little bit of that with the leader, but, you know, because he's big brain guy. He's supposed to know how things go. And so, yeah, you're automatically just buying into that, but I feel like there's still an element missing somehow.
Yeah, like compared to Zemo in Civil War, Zemo just thought of a very convoluted plan that coincidentally just happened to work. And I know plenty of people on the internet have nitpicked that movie. Like, This is just insane that it just so happened to work his way. This movie I like in the fact that the leader is essentially saying, hey, I'm a genius. I've seen all these probabilities.
I'm supposed to know how to do this.
Yeah, I'm supposed to know how that... Like, they actually explained why, even though his plot may also be convoluted, we'll know after rewatching
I'm smart. Shut the hell up, everybody.
Yeah, basically, that's what they're doing. So, I like seeing that they fixed the problem with Civil War with the leader in this.
Yeah.
I mean, real quick, Captain America.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay. Like, I thought he was good. Like, I like seeing... Sam taking on this mantle, and while he doesn't have the same power set that Steve Rogers or Bucky has, I like the fact that he's fighting this battle his way with what his skills are.
I feel like my problem, though, and it's going to be a problem with why they're doing these Disney Plus shows, is that they kind of retreaded a little bit on his arc from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in that, man, maybe it was a mistake that I have this shield. Why do I have this shield? This is maybe not the right thing for me to do. We've already covered that. We've already been past that. By the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, we were like, yeah, you deserve to have the shield 100%. You're the guy now. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of weird that we're retreading that. And I think that goes back to what Kevin Feige was saying. You don't necessarily need to watch the Marvel shows on Disney Plus in order to follow the movies. But at the same time, it's a give and take. There's stuff going on that you do need to have seen from the show in order to understand. Like, they briefly glossed over Isaiah Bradley and what his backstory was in the movie. You want to know more about him. You want to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier to get more about him. But the whole Sam questioning, should I have the shield or not? Do it in one place or the other. Don't do it in both.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I think he was good.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson and taking on the shield. I think it's perfectly fine. I think he's a great fit, and I'm going to enjoy seeing more of him later.
Was it Danny Ramirez is actually taking on the mantle of Falcon?
Yep.
Thought he was okay. He still just feels like a secondary character from the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
I mean, that's what a sidekick is supposed to be.
Yeah. So I mean, he does a great job. What was it Harrison Ford as Ross, as Thunderbolt Ross? I like how he does this. I think he's done a great job of adapting that character from William Hurt, and I think he's done a phenomenal job of making it his own. I know they explain it away. It was in the trailers or whatever about either shave the mustache or lose the election. And that really is kind of like the focal point of that character. He removed the mustache. He's Harrison Ford and all the gruffness that comes with Harrison Ford.
It's the Iron Man 2. It's me. I'm here.
Deal with it.
Yeah. Get used to it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. I think it's nice to do that little tongue-in-cheek, nod, wink kind of stuff with knowing that you're replacing essentially the actor. Through, you had to do it because of unfortunate circumstance with William Hurt, but you still had a stalwart actor in Harrison Ford taking on the role. The man knows what he's doing. He comes in and he's going to get the job done. He's going to do it well. And I was super on board, and he actually hit some really good emotional beats. Mm-hmm. On top of that, he really nailed what could be going through Ross's mind in the transition to turning into Red Hulk.
Yeah. The effects on Red Hulk were gorgeous.
Superb. I think that's where the entire movie's budget was. Honestly.
They've done a really good job of really making the Hulk look like the actor who's playing the normal actor. Thinking back to 2008 Incredible Hulk, I wouldn't say I see some semblance of
just a little bit
Edward Norton in
just
the
a little
Hulk,
bit, yeah.
But ever since Mark Ruffalo's taken over, I see Mark Ruffalo in the Hulk.
He's gotten more and more to the point where in She-Hulk,
yeah.
She-Hulk in Endgame, it was uncanny.
And I'm saying that knowing full well that the Hulk looks different starting with say the 2012 Avengers on into Endgame where he's the smart Hulk and he obviously looks a lot more like Mark Ruffalo there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even when he played Hulk in Ragnarok, he looked a lot more like Mark Ruffalo in that. So I love how they did that with Harrison Ford in the Red Hulk here.
Yeah, it's great progression. The effects were superb on him. There's just not much more to say about that. The Red Hulk,
because there's not much more of the Red Hulk in general.
It's true, and listen, do we get more of him in the future? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
I will say, without spoiling anything, the last thing that we see in this movie of Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, I love that scene.
Yeah,
that whole moment is just so good.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I love. So then that not to spoil it, but that kind of goes back into something that I feel like you said out of the theater, which was this really felt like let's just tie up all the loose ends the movie.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna make that joke earlier in this. I wanted to call it loose ends the movie.
Yeah.
Every loose end for the most part that we've had through the MCU is finally getting paid off in this movie, and then we're just gonna create a couple of more. Good luck getting those tied in.
Hey, Tiamat, what happened to Tiamat? Oh, it's filled with adamantium, and there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got the leader? Oh, yep, he's still here. There he is.
Yeah, last we saw, his head was bubbling or whatever. Well, now we see his head bubbled.
You want to see this thing and that thing and this and that?
There
it is. Do we need to mention Giancarlo Esposito?
He was good. So the only problem I have with that is
Sidewinder.
Those of y'all remember a long time ago. I think it was 2014. They did that presentation. It was the presentation where they announced that Avengers was going to do the Infinity War, and they did the close-up with the Thanos wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, and everyone's cheering. That was also the one at the beginning. They announced the third Captain America movie, and Feige's like, we're going to call it The Serpent Society, and everyone cheered, even though the Serpent Society is kind of a weak-ass group of villains, like, and then he's like, you know what, I'm having second thoughts, some buyer's remorse on that title. Yeah, I've watched that performance over and over
word
again.
for word. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't go watch the video now. You can watch it here.
I just did it word for word. I'm having some buyer's remorse on that Serpent Society. Like, I think we can find a better title. The
Civil War.
Light goes out and then the screen kicks up.
Yes, Civil War. Yes, we got it.
And everyone was losing their minds. Like, that moment is what I loved about it. And so therefore we did a joke where we're like, hey, Serpent Society, no one's really going to care about these. Well, let's just put them in a movie anyways. So that was my thought going into this. Is like, there wasn't really anything about them that was snake-like, like there is in the comics. They just called them Sidewinder, and that's it.
It's very like CW. Let's quickly pump out a TV show of this comic book character style of doing these characters that exist in the comic books.
It was basically like what's his face in Winter Soldier at the beginning.
We kind of
the Leaper.
Batroc the Leaper.
Mm-hmm.
We also I would say it's kind of also similar to in She-Hulk we got the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of there they are. Have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean Giancarlo Esposito, again, like Harrison Ford, you put him in something, we're gonna enjoy him.
Yep.
So
pretty much. Other than that, I think pacing of the movie was a little weird at some points, depending on what they're doing. I think a lot of the editing with like the fight scenes, there's a lot of that editing that had me confused as to who's fighting what, how, where, when, where. Like, especially like one of the major pivotal ones, specifically with Isaiah Bradley at the White House. I was kind of confused as to who was fighting who at what point, like who were the villains in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like thoroughly confused because the editing just was not stopping to show you exactly who was doing what and why or how or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and that progressed throughout the rest of the movie as well, especially like the dogfight at Tiamat. There's just so much stuff on screen, all moving real quick, super fast, and you can't really figure things out. So, that was probably my one really major drawback on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say ultimately, I think there's lessons to be learned from this, and I still trust in Kevin Feige. I think he's a smart guy. He's a great producer. He knows. I think he can kind of decipher for himself what went wrong and what to course correct on. And I think a lot of that is going to be, hey, let's really like cook on some of these stories a little bit longer and really fine tune them and make sure they're good to go before we even. Gosh, they almost should take the. I hate to say this, they almost should take the James Gunn DC route, which is make sure things are set in stone before we even announce the project.
Weird thing to say at this point, but
yeah, I mean. That's what James Gunn has said. We're not going to announce a DC project unless it's in writing, basically.
Yeah.
So,
so that being said, yeah, movie's entertaining. It's worth a watch. I will also point out real quick that the theater that you and I were in, we were the only ones there.
Yeah.
This is opening night for a Marvel movie, and we were the only two people in the theater at like a 7:45 in the evening showing.
Yeah. Again, obviously, it's Thursday. It's not Friday. It's Thursday. But
still, we go see a Marvel movie on Thursday. That theater's packed.
It's a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It's Captain America. Captain America's name is in the title. Yeah. Again, it's not Steve Rogers. Get over it. It's Captain America.
Yeah.
It is one of the main stalwarts, I'm going to use that word again, of the MCU. Why are we the only two people in that theater? This does not bode well for this movie.
So, again, yeah, not the worst of the MCU.
No.
It is entertaining. It is watchable. I will eagerly watch it again the second it's available to watch at home. I can't wait for that, just like any other MCU movie. But
it's enjoyable. It's entertaining. It's worth watching.
It definitely has some flaws. It's not going to be the higher upper echelon, which is fine. Not every movie can be Endgame or No Way Home or anything like that. You do have to have some lows to be able to appreciate those highs, which is, I know what we're getting down the line with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Even Thunderbolts is starting to look. Yeah. Now I know why they can't use that name.
Yeah. And I had a feeling that would be revealed in this movie.
And it is. So I get it. I know what that asterisk says now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's okay. If you're an MCU fan, you'll enjoy it. You're not gonna be like all giddy about it, but
I don't know that it's going to be anybody's favorite MCU movie
no.
necessarily. It could be, but I don't know that you're going to hear people saying that one's my favorite.
Yeah. Anyways, that is going to do it for this review. What did you think of the movie or this review? Again, let us know down below in the comments. While you're down there, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. We're doing some fun things over here this year. Can't wait to have you join us along with it. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are at The Cinefanatics on Twitter, Instagram, and still TikTok. Oh. You can follow me personally at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, and also youtube.com/@RCA Reacts.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. We thank you for watching each and every single one of these. We appreciate all of your views. We will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
See you later.